This is from the Messianic Apocalypse, a document found among the Dead Sea Scrolls dating to the 1st century BCE that Mary quoted earlier in her talk, Bodies in the Beyond. She quoted it because it links the resurrection of the dead with the Messiah, even saying that he will raise the dead. But as it turns out, this writing has some other interesting connections with the Jesus movement. The Spirit, or the gust, fluttered over Jesus according to the Odes of Solomon. And in this text, the Spirit will flutter over those who are afflicted or downtrodden when the Messiah comes. In other words, the gust of the Messiah will flutter over the afflicted to care for them as a mother bird cares for her chicks. Now, let's take a moment to consider a couple other factors related to the Messianic Apocalypse before moving on. If you saw Mary's talk, you might remember that this writing lists things that the Messiah would do, like healing the blind, raising the dead, etc. One of the things that's really interesting about this is that there's an account in the Gospels in which John the Baptist sends some of his followers to Jesus to ask him if he's the coming one. And then Jesus responds by telling them to report what they've seen. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, the dead are raised, etc. The list Jesus gave is pretty much the same as what we find in this document. And there's no other text known from the ancient world that explicitly says the Messiah would do these things. The fact that Jesus pointed John the Baptist to this particular list of actions as evidence of his messiahship indicates that both Jesus and John were familiar with and agreed with the view of the Messiah that we find in this Messianic Apocalypse. Furthermore, in the Gospels, John the Baptist said that the one who would come after him, the Messiah, would baptize people with the Holy Spirit. Putting this all together, it looks like the early Jesus movement believed that the being known as the Holy Spirit was among them, and that her presence was the fulfillment of certain messianic expectations, specifically messianic expectations expressed by John the Baptist and this document, the Messianic Apocalypse. I should also mention that here in Hebrew, this gust is a female gust, a female spirit. And this image of the fluttering gust may be building on Genesis 1, where the gust of God flutters over the waters. Flutter is the same word in both places, but in Genesis 1, the word is in a slightly different form. It is actually a feminine participle, which would be literally translated she who flutters or a flutteress.